Wonder Woman number 23, written by Brian Azzarello, art by Cliff Chiang. So last issue, we had them dealing with all the New God stuff, and then Wonder Woman and Co. started attacking the Firstborn. So this issue picks up, Firstborn sends in his hyena soldiers. I gotta admit, I don't know where these guys really came from, but regardless, Wonder Woman starts swinging her lasso, and it's a rope. What are you going to do with a rope? She grabs a boulder and just swings it around and takes out a whole bunch of them. But of course, Firstborn yeah, all right, sure, whatever. I got plenty of them. So huge horde of them come in. War just leaves the middle of the battlefield and walks over to the wall of the chapel they're in. And he's just like, where are you going? And War is like, So some say that when you're faced with insurmountable odds, you have to retreat. And he pushes down the wall of the cathedral, and he says, you better listen to them advice, Firstborn. So Firstborn's like, what, you got soldiers? You got someone to fight against my hyena guys? And War says, yeah, I have all the soldiers as best I can describe them, ghost army of every soldier to ever live comes into the cathedral. And Wonder Woman's like, I'm sorry, what in the hell is this? And he's like, I'm the god of war. I'm able to call on soldiers and such. It's just a thing I can do. Don't ask too many questions. So we see throughout all this, Orion's also in there. He's throwing down, trying to fight as well. Hera's like, this is crazy. I got to get you out of here, Zora. And Zola's like, wait, no, I got to get you out of here. I'm protecting you. You're just a normal person. She's like, no, I'm protecting you. And they go back and forth a little bit, but eventually Zola's like, no. It's okay. We just got to stay out of the center of the fight. We can be in the building. I know because Zeke isn't going to let anything bad happen to us. I can just feel it. And Hera's like, okay, sure, whatever. So Firstborn stands up. He's all pissed off that his hyena army is starting to get taken on. Orion comes in from the top belt, full-on body slams Firstborn, and they get into just a good old fist fight. And Firstborn, of course, gets the upper hand. And he's like, all right, I am going to take care of you properly, but for right now, I just need you out of my way. And so he throws him into a pillar of the cathedral, which collapses. He throws down one of the bricks on top of him, and he's like, Wonder Woman, you're next. And Wonder Woman stands there. She starts taking off her gauntlets, her shackles, and she's like, oh, I am so going to get revenge for my half-brother that you killed. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So as she takes off the thing, War steps up behind her and is just like, just want you to remember, when it comes to brute force against brute force, you once asked me, is any fight worth winning if it costs this oneself? And Wonder Woman's like, you never gave me a good answer, so I think I'm going to roll with that. So she charges in with the powers of Zeus. She blasts him up into the sky, starts punching him repeatedly, just saying, like, you are a monster. I will not hesitate to destroy you if I have to. And he's just like, oh, you just did. You looked at me and you saw what you're capable of, what we're both capable of. That's how far you've fallen. And so he seismic tosses her back down to the ground, and she's out for at least a brief period. Firstborn stands up and is like, cool, 2 down, who next? Who else here is of a god? And he looks at baby Zeke and he's like, well, you're next. So he walks over, Hera jumps in the way, he grabs her by the throat and says, mother, how dare you, you bitch. And then War pulls out a shotgun, shoots him in the head, says, that's no way to talk to your mother. And we get a fist-to-fist fight between Firstborn and War. And War holds his own really well. He's able to flip Firstborn over. He does a great job. But Firstborn is still Firstborn. He grabs War by the neck. Wonder Woman starts coming to. She's like, okay, maybe I should have listened. I shouldn't have gone in with brute force. I needed more of a plan. And she looks over at War and Firstborn. War is getting his throat crushed by Firstborn, and she starts trying to move her way over to him. Firstborn's like, I've been going through this all wrong. I've been thinking that the child is the key to Olympus, but if I kill you, I'll become the new god of war, and then I could just kill Olympus from inside. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to crush your neck and kill you. And so he goes to do so. We see War vomits blood out of his mouth. But Firstborn shouts, "No!" And on the next page, we see that it turns out Wonder Woman has taken a spear and impaled War and Firstborn through the stomachs. Firstborn kind of tanks it, but War, not so lucky. War is there. He's like, "Hey, you took my advice. You did what needed to be done. Proud of you." And as he's laying there dying, he says, "Hey, Wonder Woman, you have to take on my eternal burden now. It's yours to do. I offer you at whatever I can, but peace." And then he dies. And we see Firstborn, he tanked it, but he wasn't doing so well. Zola comes in with a big old beam of wood and just bashes him over the head when he's not looking. That's enough to at least knock him out. So War is dead. We see Hades steps up and he's like, "Hey, I came to pick up my nephew. I need to take him." Hera steps forward and says goodbye to War because she is his mother, and says, "Oh, I hope that you find in death the peace you could never have in life." And Wonder Woman asks Hades, like, "Hey, are you going to take Firstborn as well?" And he's like, "Well, he's not dead. Unless you're going to finish the job, no." And she's like, "No, there's been enough killing today." Hades is like, "Oh, that's different for a god of war, but okay." So they make their way out of the cathedral. We do see Apollo standing over the, I guess, still alive body of the Firstborn, smirking like he's got machinations. And finally, we see them walking out to the river and placing the body of War inside a boat that sails down the river. And at least the trade version says end, but I know that Brian Azzarello continues writing this book, so maybe it's just end of the arc. But okay, Wonder Woman is the new god of war. Thoughts? I thought this was a very well done issue. It did a fantastic job of finally giving War that characterization I've been looking for, because throughout this entire series he's been around and it seems like he's had these sort of plans or ideas, but it never really felt like we got a good characterization of him. It never felt like we really buckled down. It just felt like he was old and weary. But this time he actually got involved in the fight. He brought in an entire army. He showed his true strength. He went fisticuffs with the Firstborn. I'm down with this. I think this was fantastically done. My only critique with this is that I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe this is the first time in this issue we're getting the concept of kill the god, take their place rules, which doesn't make sense to me, because if Zeus died, which is the premise for the whole book, shouldn't whoever killed him has taken his place as at least god of lightning? But like that didn't. So it's a little tiny nitpick. It like doesn't detract from this independent story at all, but just viewing it on the larger whole, it kind of opens it up to questions. Unless it only applies to war, which makes sense of that, you die in battle and whoever kills you takes your place as god of war. That would make sense, but I don't know. The rules are just kind of nebulous right now. And that's my only little critique, and someone who likes those things mapped out very well for me. But yeah, art's great. Writing's great. There's actually in the back of this trade a breakdown of the art before it's colored in and all that, with some temporary speech bubbles. I absolutely love it, because all of War's little monologues are just scribbles. Like they knew War was just going to talk about like all this philosophical stuff, but he didn't want to write it yet. Fantastic. It really adds to the issue. So yeah, no, I'm going to give this one, honestly, I think this particular issue is probably a 9. I think I'm going to give it a full 9. It's very close to an 8.5 because, again, I do have some criticisms, but it was just a very well-written issue. It set forward a lot of things and got them all wrapped up nicely in an emotional finish. I like all of that, so 9 it is.